We will talk about 18FT704 garment testing, performance and sustainability. Now we have seen in the previous lesson, that is the lesson 1 of unit 4 about environmental development or sustainable development. Unit 4 talks about garment testing for sustainability, and in the lesson 2 now we will talk about testing of restricted substances. Now when you are talking about the restricted substances, so we will deal with different restricted substances which are tested and found in the finished apparel. So we will see in this particular lesson 2 about those restricted substances, where these substances are found, and then how the testing will be done of those restricted substances. And also we will see about the plan, the testing plan or testing protocol of these restricted substances. What are the tests needs to be carried out to certify that garment is not having any restricted substances at the finish stage. So those are the important points we will discuss in this lesson 2 of unit 4. Now if you give the introduction about the RSL testing, it talks about the regulatory compliance. What do you mean by the regulatory compliance? It talks about the laws of the country, regulatory laws of the country. It talks about the brand requirements of restricted substances, what a particular brand requires into this. So the list is there. So what are the restricted substances are covered into this list, that is there in this testing of restricted substances. Then RSL talks about eco-level criteria also. So what are the different criterias are there? So to see that it is eco-level is satisfied in this garment. It talks about the root cause analysis of end article failure. Suppose a garment, after testing we found that restricted substances are present in it. So how to avoid that? So that is the root cause analysis of the article. Okay. So that is very, very important, and what are the things we should take care of while you are doing so. So it can be available in different phases or different stages of the production. It can be found in the source also. So those kind of root cause analysis, that's why is very important while we are doing the testing. Now testing process and analytical instruments, if we see that there are a lot of analytical chemical equipment are used there, and basic steps if we see in this testing is that cutting of the testing sample. We have to cut the samples as per the size of that particular test. Then we have to weigh the sample. Weighing is very, very important. Very accurate balance will be required for that purpose. Then the testing steps also talks about extraction with a solvent or acid or water or sweat solutions. So these are the basic testing steps which are to be followed out or which are to be maintained while we are doing the testing of restricted substances. Concentration is very, very important. The solution what we are doing the testing or extracted solutions, it should be concentrated one. Then derivatization is very, very important. We have to derivatize the material, and then only the analysis is possible with some analytical instrument like GCMS. Basic testing steps also talks about the result. End result is very, very important. So for that different graphs are there. So graphs can be analyzed and found that whether that particular peak, that particular compound or chemical group is available, or this chemistry of the material are judged by doing this testing. Now, equipment for eco testing, if we see that it talks about the extraction. Extraction is normally done with this oscillation apparatus. Also, the detection and quantification is very important. This can be done with either GCMS or LCMS, etc. Extraction of chemicals, when it is done, or some water bath will be required for that purpose, very simple water bath. And then the ultrasonic, this one waves should be passed into this for drying and other purposes. So, in this fashion, the testing talks about very important areas of extraction of chemicals by equipment. So, number one, I already mentioned, the Soxylate apparatus is required like this. Then the steam distillator is very important for concentration or making the solution concentrated. Equipment also talks about the microwave digester. So, like this, which is shown in the figure. Some block heater is also there, important here. Then selection criteria. The type of the substrate is very important here. Testing protocol of restricted substances is important, like different kind of chemicals are used in the garment, different dyes are used, or different chemicals are used in the printing or finishing processes. So, testing protocol again differs depending upon the type of the garment or the nature of the garment. Now, analytical instrument, when you are talking, the name of some of the equipments are like this, like a gas chromatograph with flame ionizations detector, GCFID, then electron capture detection, that is GCECD, then mass spectrometer, that is the GCMS, which is popularly known as. So, these are the very costly analytical instruments which are used for the detection of different chemical groups in the different agents which are used in different processes in the fabric or garment stage. Analytical instruments also talks about high performance liquid chromatography with diode array detector, that is LCDAD, mass spectrometer, that is the LCMS. Now, this also deals with ultraviolet visible spectrophotometer, that is we call it as a UVVs, which is also used for analysis of different components of the compound which are used in different processes. Also talks about atomic absorption spectrophotometer, AAS, that is also used there. Now, analytical instruments, when you are talking, it also talks about inductively coupled plasma optical emission spectrophotometer, mass spectrophotometer or spectrometer, ICP OES or ICP MS, like this it is used. Then GCFID, GCMS, why it is used? This is used for the banned amines, chlorinated phenols, pesticides, which are used for different purposes, and how the breakdown of different amines, so it happens in this while detecting the banned amines. Now, GCFID, GCMS is used for determining chlorinated organic compounds, that is the carriers, then phthalates. So, all these things can be determined by GCFID or GCMS. Now, this also talks about the determination of organotin compounds. It talks about SCCP, short chain compounds, then PAH. So, these are the very harmful chemicals which are detected from this GCFID or GCMS. So, organotin compounds are very important here, because it affects the immune system or reproductive system of the body, and it is used in various products such as socks, shoes, some sporting cloth or sports clothing, to prevent the smell, this organotin compounds. So, it persists in the environment. So, that is the most important part of organotin compound. Now GCFID, GCMS, it is used for alkyl phenol determination, flame retardant determinations, so those can be done. Now GCFID and GCMS also used for different determination of solvents. Isocyanates also is getting determined by this GCFID. HPLC DAD, if you see, it is useful for band amines detection in the chemicals and also in the print pastes. Allergenic disperse dyes determinations, carcinogenic dyes detections. So in these cases, the different dye stuffs are getting analyzed to determine the harmful amines or allergenic disperse dyes or carcinogenic dyes. LCMS is another equipment that we want to discuss, which is useful for determination of the band amines, allergenic disperse dyes. Okay. So different equipments are used at different level. LCMS is used for also for carcinogenic dyes, APEOs, alkyl phenol ethoxylates, PFOA, perfluorinated compound, PFOS. So those are the things can be detected through LCMS. So these are the structure of PFOA, which is a fluorinated hydrocarbon. UV-Vis normally is used for the determination of the formaldehyde content in the material, and it is a very harmful carcinogen. It is also used for determination of the chromium-6 compounds, and this compound is useful in the leather industry a lot. AS, ICP, OES, ICP-MS also, the heavy metal extractions, it is getting determined, or different heavy metals can be detected. Now let us talk about a smart testing plan. What is a smart testing plan? To determine the restricted substances in a compound. So what are the requirements? Knowledge of the base material is important, whether it is a cotton, whether it is a polyester, or whether it is a wool, or whether it is a silk, or it is a nylon, or it is an acrylic. So basic knowledge is very much important to determine the testing plan. Then knowledge of the dyes and chemicals are also very important. So what type of dyes and chemicals have been used there? Restricted chemical groups, which are the different chemical groups available into that, like APEO, then chlorinated benzene. So different kind of chemical groups are available, azo dyes, etc. Now if we see in the testing plan, the testing of the base material is very important. As you can see from this table, the different RSL chemical groups are there. So if it is a greige cotton, what are the things we should test? Chlorophenols, APEOs, heavy metals. Similarly, if we want to test some dyed or printed cotton, so APEOs needs to be tested, heavy metals needs to be tested, band amines, phthalate, formaldehyde. So different compounds are to be determined, and it depends upon the material. Now when you are talking about interpretation of a test report with the RSL groups, so report must be thoroughly examined. And testing band amines in azo dyes, if you see that how it works. Testing of the sample, first we have to take, then reductive cleavage we have to make, extraction of the released amine in a solvent, then concentration of the solvent is very important, we have to concentrate the solution, analysis of any 4 recommended analytical equipment which is used there, then release of the amine will happen. And for polyester and its blends, the dyed and printed sample is treated with hot solvent to extract the dispersed dye before reductive cleavage happens. Now false positive results also do happen in these prohibited amines. Other than azo dye also, it can give the false positive results, which looks like it is a band amines is there, but it is not like that. So different conditions are there of the equipment in where these false positive results we can get, and some of the examples of dyed garments are before you. Now testing of heavy metals, extractable, it is total or releasable materials are getting tested, cadmium, lead, okay, arsenic, all these heavy metals are getting checked here. Now extractable materials like a tea leaves, one of the examples. Then there are examples of the sugar solutions, Then there are examples also, the releasable material like sap of rubber plants. So these are the different areas. Test report is looking like this. Different structure of the test report is shown here. So in a smart testing plan, we have seen that different materials are used. Factory action plan also is very, very important. What are the factors involved into this testing plan that factory has to judge? Laboratory is very, very important. Laboratory management system, equipment must be available in the laboratory. Then only this testing can be possible. Now sampling of the finished article also is important. How the samples are drawn. Corrective and preventive actions from the results also is very, very important. So once it is detected, we have to stop doing the production. So corrective and action plan must be ensured. pH value also plays an important role. It measures the free hydrogen, this one. Forbidden amines, as we have seen that different types of forbidden amines are available in the dyes, so that needs to be checked. Then also one needs to check the forbidden dyes, that is acid red 26, basic red 9, direct black 3B, etc. So those are the things important. Allergenic disperse dye, disperse orange, disperse brown, disperse red, all these things are there in this forbidden dyes. So those are the things important. Heavy metals, talking about cadmium, lead, etc., damage kidney and renal functions. So in this fashion, chromium 6 also, this is human carcinogen. So different metals like nickel is there, okay, it affects the human health, cancer in the lungs. Lead also, different organs are getting affected with this lead also. Organic substances like phthalate, liver and kidney is getting damaged with this. And also if you see the organotin compounds, skin irritants it is. So we have to judge all these things while determination of all these things. Then PVC also needs to be checked whether PVC is there. It is used for different parts actually, and like liver, kidney, blood, lungs, nervous system is getting affected, immune system rather is getting affected in this purpose. And formaldehyde, yes, organic substances like carcinogens to the human being, it cannot be avoided, it is used in the printing also, okay. And polyester dyeing, carriers are used, dichlorobenzene, chlorotoluenes, tetrachlorobenzene, etc. in different processes in carriers. So carriers in polyester dyeing also harmful effect is there, irritation, mucous membrane is getting affected due to this. So different areas of concerns that we have seen here, restricted substances, that different services are available and different test methods are applicable. So in summary, in short, we can tell that restricted substances testing is very, very important, and factory should have a proper plan and testing different components. So smart testing plan is one of them, and different chemical groups are to be tested in this purpose. So this is the unit 4 and lesson 2 of this restricted substances testing. Thank you.